All right, Coach, let's break down this one big, beautiful bill act step by step. It's a massive legislative package, and it reads like a wish list for conservative policy reforms across nearly every government sector. A budget reconciliation bill, meaning it's designed to fast-track changes related to taxes, spending, and debt without being blocked by a Senate filibuster. It covers agriculture, education, healthcare, defense, energy, environment, immigration, taxes, and more. It uses the reconciliation process to make sweeping changes to existing laws while only needing a simple majority vote in the Senate. Most sections either repeal, reduce, restrict, or redirect funding and regulations. It's split across different congressional committees, each pushing its own policy agenda under the banner of reform. The bill focuses on 1. Cutting federal spending, reduces benefits, tightens eligibility for programs like SNAP and Medicaid, and cuts administrative costs. 2. Deregulation, slashes environmental protections and clean energy funding, eliminates many of the Inflation Reduction Act programs. 3. Boosting defense and border security, big investment in the military, especially air, missile, and cyber defense. Drastically increases border enforcement, detention, and deportation mechanisms. 4. Tax cuts and family-friendly credits. Expands deductions and credits, especially for families and rural workers. Introduces MAGA accounts, which are basically new tax-free savings tools. Cuts taxes on tips, overtime, car loans, and more. 5. Reducing immigration and related benefits. Hikes fees for immigrants and asylum seekers. Cuts off healthcare and tax credits for undocumented immigrants. Increases deportation and detention authority. So let's take a closer look at whose interests are being prioritized here. First off, big agriculture and rural America see benefits through farm subsidies and opportunity zones. Defense contractors and the military-industrial complex also stand to gain. Moreover, the oil, gas, and coal industries will find their permits fast-tracked, and clean energy initiatives are being rolled back. Wealthier Americans and small business owners can look forward to tax deductions and credits. Traditional and conservative family structures are supported through child and adoption credits, as well as faith-leaning education expenses. On the other hand, some groups are being deprioritized. Urban low-income households face cutbacks in programs like SNAP and Medicaid. Clean energy and climate resilience efforts are nearly wiped out. Undocumented and some legal immigrants will experience fee hikes and service restrictions. Federal employees are looking at increased contributions and reduced pensions. Lastly, higher education borrowers will see new restrictions and caps on loan forgiveness and deferment. If you're low income, SNAP food benefits will be harder to access due to work requirements and tighter waivers. Medicaid will be harder to qualify for with immigration status checks and frequent redeterminations. Internet or energy assistance won't count toward benefit calculations as much. If you're middle class, you may see some tax benefits with no tax on tips or overtime and increased deductions. If you're a small business owner, especially in rural areas, you could benefit from new depreciation rules and loan incentives. If you're a student or parent, there will be limits placed on student loans and forgiveness programs. However, there will be more deductions for private or homeschool expenses and Pell Grant expansions for vocational and workforce training. If you're in the military, there will be funding increases for quality of life, shipbuilding, and readiness improvements. If you're an immigrant, there will be massive fee hikes across the board, restrictions on eligibility for public programs, and expanded detention and expedited deportations. This is a full court press to restructure the size, scope, and direction of federal government spending. It cuts off avenues for environmental justice, progressive taxation, and immigration access while redirecting dollars to defense, energy production, fossil fuels, and traditional values. This bill is pro-business, pro-military, and anti-regulation. It is anti-immigration and skeptical of welfare expansion. It represents a rollback of much of the Biden-era environmental and healthcare reforms. It's a tax restructuring aimed at rewarding work, families, and rural growth if you fit the mold. Once again, this has been a narrative rush, a story that hits before your break is over, something better to do while you go poo.